Well, hello, writers. Welcome to episode number 436 of Ink in Your Veins. I'm Rachael Herron, and today I have a little story to tell you. I shared last week, I believe, might have been 2 weeks ago now, I shared chapter 3 of my book, Unstuck, and today I'm going to share chapter 6. I really like sharing these little bits of the audiobook with you because I'm pretty passionate about doing this. I really love doing it. Also, let me let you know there are no spoilers. These are essays that are cohesive. They hang together, obviously. They go chronologically through time. But as a memoirist who understands story structure, they have been arranged in the book in the places they are for reasons of story structure. And this is, as you will hear, the inciting incident of the story. The inciting incident, when we're talking about story structure in either fiction or memoir, the inciting incident is where we move into the new world, where our character has made a decision to do something, to change something, and they step forward into this new set of circumstances that they have never been presented with before. It's really interesting that we can do this in memoir. We can look through our lives, find these places that hang on the important story structure beats. And y'all have heard me talk about this before, but I believe that you can do whatever you want with story structure. But we do need an inciting incident, a context shifting midpoint, and a dark moment. The rest of the book is up to you. But the inciting incident is where our character steps forward boldly or timidly or meekly or apologetically, reluctantly, excitedly, they use all the adverbs. They can step forward, but they're stepping forward into something new. In memoir, sometimes it takes a little bit to find that. However, in this memoir, it did not. This is the point at which we reach our new land. We have reached New Zealand. This is the chapter about arriving and really not being able to arrive. I hope that you like it. I hope it's fun. I hope it's funny. And I hope that it entertains you. Thank you for being along on this Kickstarter ride for Unstuck. It is either closing in 1 or 2 days because I've lost track now. It is closing on Monday, April 22nd for most places. If you are like Japan or Korea or New Zealand, it's going to close on Tuesday because we are that far ahead of you in the world, but most of you it'll close on Monday. So if you are interested in getting this audio right from the Kickstarter, right from me, now is a great time to do it at a great price over at Kickstarter. The link is in the show notes. Please enjoy chapter 6. I sure enjoyed recording it for you. All right. I'm so happy you're here. Here we go. Chapter 6. Trapped in a very small room for a very long time. Day 0 in managed isolation. I'm sitting in a chair in New Zealand, looking out a New Zealand window, watching a thin New Zealand rainstorm blow out of view. Below the window is a pocket of hotel landscaping with lush greenery, palms, and bushes filled with small birds, but the glass is so thick I can't hear them chirping. Beyond the birds is a busy roadway in an industrial area where trucks frantically move shipping containers around. We made it. The flight was 13 hours, which was shorter than the 17 hours I'd been telling everyone it would be. I have no idea where I got that bigger number, but if you ever want to be relieved, overestimate the time you think your flight will take by 4 hours. We bought a sky couch, which in my mind would be a chic little red settee where we'd be catered to by an airline hostess wearing a pillbox hat, selling cigarettes and mixing cocktails. In reality, it was a 3-seat sectioning coach with an unsold middle seat and a footrest that flipped up into the flat position. It wasn't big enough for both of us to lie down in, but it was enough to couch spoon in, which justified the extra expense. So we're here, in New Zealand. Except I don't feel as if I'm really in New Zealand. I mean, the land the hotel rests upon is New Zealand soil, yes, but nothing is real, not yet. This is a liminal middle ground. Our whole plane was met by the Navy, rows of uniformed young people wearing tight-fitting masks. We were tested for COVID-19. Then we claimed our bags, cleared customs, and, with the rest of the passengers, climbed onto buses. Some buses, we learned, were headed to downtown Auckland, and others left the city southbound. Our bus ride, though, was short, taking less than 15 minutes, and we're now in a quarantine hotel near the Auckland airport. We'll stay here for our first 14 days in the country. Today is day 0. We'll get a second COVID-19 test soon, and if we're still negative, tomorrow will be day 1 of 14. If we remain negative, we'll be able to leave our rooms and walk in the fenced parking lot for 45 minutes once a day. On day 14, we'll be released into the wild, into New Zealand proper. On day 14, we'll start our new lives. My blood fizzes like soda, and I'm exhausted. It's 9 a.m, and I have to stay up till at least 8 tonight to have a prayer of getting on local time quickly. So I stare at the black bird with the orange beak, common mina, my bird app says, and I take a deep breath of hotel room air. Day 2. I miss Dozy, who's staying with my best friend until we find a rental that will take dogs, not likely, says the internet, or buy a house. I'm trying not to think about her. When I do, I cry. I have only blown up 1 extension cord, and Lala has only lost 1 converter. Both emitted smoke and heat, but neither of them caught on actual fire or set off any smoke detectors. Yes, we understand voltage and amperage, for the most part. I simply like to forget on as many continents as possible that one should never use an extension cord from home. New Zealand, check. My curling iron works, though, and I'm calling that a big win. Day 3. Our room is not glamorous. It's better than the one they originally put us in, which had nothing but 2 small beds and a chair. No desk, no table, and Lord help 2 full-sized women trying to fit into 1 double bed. Had the front desk made a mistake? Had they seen 2 women with different last names and just assumed we weren't a couple? Or did all married couples share a smaller than queen bed here? I sent an email to the desk asking this, and they moved us to this room on the 2nd day. Thank Jeebus. Both of us are working full-time, and to do that without even a table to share felt dire. The room they moved us to is the same size, about 100 square feet, but it feels bigger, with only 1 queen-sized bed in the middle of the floor instead of the 2 smaller beds. Bonus, we have 1 upholstered chair and 1 chair that goes with the notebook-sized desk. The luxury of 2 places to sit that aren't on the bed. It's so quiet here. We know we're surrounded on both sides and across the hall by other people in isolation, but we never see them. We don't even hear them. It's an airport hotel, so perhaps it's just very well soundproofed, but there are times I wouldn't mind hearing a voice or 2 filtering through a wall. I'd like to hear some proof that life is going on around us. 3 times a day, someone knocks on the door and calls, "Room service." But when we mask up and open the door to get the bags of food, that someone is already far down the hall and out of sight. Day 5. We're traveling light for people moving around the globe, but we're not traveling light. We have 9 pieces of luggage crammed in here with us. The 4 large suitcases and 4 backpacks, plus Lala's banjo. Her banjo's flight case looks exactly like a small coffin. A child's coffin, perhaps. It's so macabre that she taped a note to the outside that cheerfully proclaims, "Not a coffin." This is a lot of luggage for me. I love minimalist travel, and when we planned our packing, there were times I longed to bring less. But Lala kept making the sensible point, "We're moving countries. Would you please accept the idea of checking baggage this one time?" And she was right, of course. I brought a few things that I kept almost leaving out of my luggage, but now I'm so glad I didn't. They include 1. My yoga mat. I haven't had a daily yoga practice in a long time, but it's coming back to me, and it feels good. 2. My lap desk. I brought it when I was sick earlier this year and couldn't sit at my desk to write. It's great for working in bed, and it also has telescoping legs so that it can be used as a standing desk. It folds flat-ish, but it's heavy and took up a lot of valuable real estate in my suitcase. I almost tossed it 100 times. On the second day of being here, I used it to make the bathroom into a conference room while Lala took a call in the main room, and the desk suddenly justified every inch of space. In the last couple of days, I've taught classes standing in my little bathroom cubicle. I've filmed podcasts, I've been interviewed by a New Zealand book show, and I've appeared in an Instagram Live with Cassie Roma, a host of The Apprentice Aotearoa, who is also quarantining in our hotel. 3. Binoculars. I am a very amateur birder, and yes, I've seen some new ones here. But you know what's way more interesting than birds when you're trapped in a hotel room? Watching the people down below in the parking lot walk around and around with binoculars. #creeper, #not sorry. 4. 2 fans, both USB powered. One is a standing fan and has probably saved me from dying of spontaneous combustion during the night. The room is warm, the windows don't open, and the AC doesn't work. The fan folds down into a small, flat cylinder. And my folding USB fan that attaches to a battery bank and can also charge my Kindle and phone, invaluable. 5. Scrubba portable wash bag, size regular. I wasn't totally sure about this one, but I love it. It's basically a tough rubber bag that you put your laundry detergent into, along with your clothes and water, and just like that, squoosh wash, clean clothes. It has a little washboard built in. My new system. Start the clothes soaking while I bathe, then washboard them in the bag while I'm still in the tub. Then I tumble the clothes into the bath water where they get a rinse. To dry, I wring them out, wrap them in a towel and step on it, then hang the clothes on the travel clothesline. Lord, I love a system. Day 7. The phone rings. We've just woken up and I stumble toward it, my first mug of tea in hand. Hello? I'm expecting it to be housekeeping. Since they obviously can't come into our room, they call every few days to ask if we need more towels or toilet paper. Hello? It's a man's voice, low and gravelly. Yes? Hello? He says again. And just from those 2 words, I know who it is. Bill? Bill is one of my students and a friend. He's a wonderful, sweet man who's writing his story of finding family and himself later in life. He's a delight. And he's on the phone with me. I don't think we've ever talked on the phone. Wait, I'm in New Zealand and he's on the phone with me? Who is this? He asks, obviously still thinking he's talking to reception. It's Rachel. Is this Bill? But I know it is. Almost 2 decades of listening to short, chopped transmissions of 911 radio traffic have made me an expert at identifying people's voices from quick syllables. Bill says he was trying to get the concierge service. This is not a concierge kind of hotel, and while explaining himself, they just transferred him to me. Joy swims through me, quicksilver under my skin. I know, because of how kind he is, that he was probably trying to get the concierge so he could send me a present. I don't care about that. I'm just so thrilled at the sheer surprise of a voice that I adore coming out of nowhere. I don't think I've written the name of our hotel anywhere online, not out of caution, just because I haven't thought to do so. I say, "How did you find me?" "Lala's tweet," he says. "The one with the picture of the volcano crater outside your hotel. I sent it to my son, and he looked at geomaps and figured out which place you were at." My heart spins and chirps inside my chest. I didn't know I felt lost until I was found. Sure, this might have felt weird coming from a stranger, but Bill is part of my writing family. And what his call means is that Lala and I haven't gone so far that we can't be found, that we can't be supported and held. We chat for a few more minutes. He says, "Love you," when we hang up, and I say it back because it's true. The next day, a basket full of live orchids and fancy New Zealand treats arrives at our door. I wear one of the orchids in my hair all day. Day 10. The thing I love best about this hotel? The bathtub. It has two really big things going for it. First, it's construction. Now, I'm not a small gal, and my belly rose above the level of an average overflow valve long ago. But unlike an American bath, there's no overflow valve at the top of this tub, which means you can fill it all the way up. There is a lip, maybe 3/4 of an inch high, and this is magical. It means you can fill the tub and still scratch your nose without spilling water all over the floor. The second best thing about this tub? When I'm in it, I'm not with Lala. I'm alone. 10 days into this adventure, we're in agreement on this one. We don't want to escape each other. This is a huge surprise to both of us. I'd honestly thought we might be sick to death of each other by now, but instead, we're still making each other laugh. We still have plenty to say to each other all day long. Yesterday, I said to her, "You know, it's so odd. I don't want to get away from you. I thought I would by now." We were sitting on our picnic blanket, which is a towel we keep just for sitting on while we eat on the floor, because the desk is minuscule and usually covered with Lala's work computers. "Well, that's good," she said, not looking up from her bite of lamb stew. I went on, "But I sure want to be alone." She laughed, and I heard the relief in it. Me fucking do. And that's where the bath comes in handy. It's our alone time. I haven't taken baths this long since I had a clawfoot tub in my old condo 15 years ago. We're talking 2-hour-long tubs. 2.5. I don't think I've hit the 3-hour mark yet, but that's only because our meals are delivered so regularly to our room that I usually have to get out and eat while the food is still hot. Lala spends the same amount of time in there, so we're each getting at least 4 hours of alone time a day. I shudder to think what it would be like if we didn't have that tub. Or if we didn't have this window, which I love. The wintry August sky is wide and dramatic, full of clouds that scud and bump and break, releasing rain that turns into mist and then rainbows. It doesn't really matter that we're looking down at ugly industrial buildings. It's enough to look up and see the Aotearoa sky. Aotearoa, I whisper to myself, trying to correctly pronounce the Te Reo Maori name for this land. Then I try to shrug off a soul discomfort that keeps itching at me, the same way my skin does when I eat passion fruit. I'm not sure I deserve to be here. The border is closed. The only people who can cross it are New Zealanders and their families. Yes, I'm a New Zealand citizen, but I'm not really a Kiwi like everyone else here. This is a hotel full of people coming home. There are signs on all floors welcoming the returners. I'm not returning. I've never lived here before. Lala and I are both Americans, and though technically I'm also a New Zealander, I want with all my heart to be a Kiwi. From up here on the 6th floor, I think about liminality every day. We look over the parking lot that's been converted to an exercise area. It's so small you can lap it in just a few minutes, even if you're walking slowly. There's an outer walking ring and an inner ring for the runners. I feel badly for them. It's a one-way flow. There's almost no part of their run that they're not banked in a turn. Their ankles must ache. 25 people are allowed outside at a time, and we have to be careful not to get too close to anyone else. The New Zealand Navy watch us closely as they guard New Zealand from us. They're very polite and interminably bored. Once I looked down and saw them hopscotching in the hopscotch zones the kids had drawn in chalk. I filmed their cheerful jumps and made it into a TikTok that went New Zealand viral. Tonight, as we re-enter the hotel after our walk, the Navy guy at the door says, "Hey, you." "Me?" "You TikTok?" I nod. "Was that wrong? Will I get in trouble for filming the military? Oh no, will they think I was making fun of them?" "That shit was funny, bro," he says. I let out a breath of relief. "Was it you hopscotching?" His gaze skitters sideways. "Yeah, nah, not me. Some other guy." "Sure, dude." I see the joy of hopscotch in his eyes. Day 13. I don't want to leave. God, that's so stupid. But I don't. It's our last full day in the quarantine hotel. Sunday. A day off, ostensibly. But from what? I prowl around the hotel room, hunting for something to worry about. I snipe at Lala for not securing a walk time for us, even though I didn't ask her to. I worry that all the taxis in Auckland will be spoken for in the morning, and we won't be able to get one big enough to hold our luggage for the 30-minute ride across town to the rental where our New Zealand life will actually begin. I get out my journal, and as I loop words up and down the pages, I get it. I figure out why I'm so fractious. I write, "Change is scary as fuck." Adding insult to injury, my favorite and last blue ballpoint pen runs out as I'm writing those exact words. We've had nothing but change since the end of February when we started to do moving things. But here, in this hotel, there's been no change. Absolutely none. There's been nothing to do but work and read. I've finished 7 books and take baths and sleep. Every meal is provided for us. We're safe and cozy. We want for nothing. Tomorrow, everything will change. We'll exit this liminal state and enter... That's just it. I don't know what we'll enter. When we look north out our hotel window, we can see the very tip-top of the Sky Tower. The place we're moving to tomorrow has an up-close view of the same tower, according to the pictures online. So we're not moving far. I can almost see our next stop. I should be able to slow my heart rate, shouldn't I? Why am I so scared? It's not like our new life starts tomorrow. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. No, I reject that. Our new life is here. Our new life is already here. Already now. In this room. As the thought moves through me, my heartbeat stills, expands. I get it. This is life too. It's all life. We haven't been waiting for anything. This has been a gorgeous interlude, a calm spot in which to rest after a few difficult years. Maybe I'm almost ready to get out of here. But there are still 9 hours before bedtime, before our last sleep. I've already had a bath this morning, but there's time for another one after our 2 p.m. walk that Lala has talked them into letting us have. I can read at least another book today, can't I? Tomorrow it begins. No, scratch that. That's not right. Tomorrow it continues.